Welcome back to my channel. My name is Perry. As I promised in my workbench video, I will show you today how I built the fence of my table router and how you can build it at home. I will blend in the video of how I built my workbench just in case you haven't seen it yet. It's definitely worth watching. We'll start with the fence right after the intro. So, first we will start with the construction frame for the fence. For all pieces I used 15mm or 0.6 inches of multiplex wood. The base has a width of 11 cm or 4.3 inches and a length of 80 cm or 21.5 inches, which is the exact width of my workbench. For a smoother touch and feel of the fence, I sanded the corners. I labeled both boards with A and B so that I always know which workpiece has which purpose. A is for the sub-fence and B is the base. I will drill in 2 holes on the edges of the base, which is the board B, so that the fence can be guided into the T-track and be positioned where needed. In case you don't have a T-track on top of your workbench, you could also add it. In my video on how to build a workbench, you can check out how I did it. Now, before I cut out the vacuum holes, I marked the positions for the slots that are needed for opening and closing of the fence. I set the middle of the slots 20 cm or 7.8 inches away from the middle of the board. Be aware here that the slots shouldn't be positioned too high because later we need the room for the T-track. The holes are 6 cm or 2.4 inches long. Watch out, we only need these slots for the sub-face, not for the base, hence workpiece A. At the end, after I built the pieces together, I noticed that it would be better to have 2 slots per fence board. Without, the board rotates when lifting the whole construction. Now the holes can be sawed out for the vacuum. Wait a second, don't I have a router table? Why am I not using it? Before I cut out the slots, I drilled 4 holes for screwing the boards together. It's important to counter-strike the holes. It's essential to keep the right angle when screwing them together. Better is to do this step after cutting out the slots. Now finally, it's time for the slots. First, I drill a hole and then mill the slots. Now you can screw the boards back together. Don't forget the right angle. Okay, I have some of these rest pieces. They have a height of 10 centimeters or 3.9 inches, but I actually wanted a height of 11 centimeters or 4.3 inches. Anyways, I would take these 10 centimeters so that I can reuse these remaining parts. Now I cut myself 4 pieces as needed with an angle of 45 degrees. I tape the cutting area with masking tape to reduce tear out. I will align the pieces with the existing screw joints. Don't forget to counter-strike here too. Moving it back and forth works fine. We also need a little hatch for the vacuum. For that, I sawed a 10 x 9 centimeters or 4 x 3.5 inches board and beveled the ends in an angle of 45 degrees. To determine the middle, I connect the corners with a pencil. Who has a circular cutter or a circular saw will have it easier here. I had to take a long and hard way. I mounted a hinge on it so that the vacuum hatch can be opened and closed. I sawed 2 triangles for compressing and glued them to the hatch. After the glue dried, the hatch can be screwed on. Out of 16 millimeters or 6.3 inches phenolic faced plywood, I sawed 2 boards with the length of 40 centimeters or 15.7 inches and a height of 11.5 centimeters or 4.5 inches. Later we'll see why I made them higher than the subface. I cut in a miter in both boards. I also cut in a T-track. This can be used for stop locks. I marked where the holes need to be drilled. I want to counter-strike the lag screws. Not only that, but they shall not turn when screwing them tight. To achieve this, I will drill a hole that is smaller than the hex head. Now we can see why I made the boards higher. That way you can also grab them from the top to move them. Now for measurements, I got a tape measure, which I will tape on these sides. To see at which position I am on the ruler, I cut some out of this clothing strip. These are used for stairs or similar. I don't need it anymore. I cut myself 2 of these pieces out and drilled some holes. So, the fence is done. Such a fence is definitely helpful if you have a router table. I can only recommend building one of these. I would be happy to get a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And if you want to see what else I will build, then please subscribe and you won't miss any further videos. Next, I want to add some drawers, and especially I want a lifting system for the router. Right now, I have to push the router up and down, but that's not the way I want it. I would like to use a screwdriver, or even better, a power screwdriver. If you don't want to miss all that, subscribe me and stay tuned. Bye. Tschüss.